Hi friends, welcome to Soulful Spinning. This is my channel where I share my creative journey in the fiber arts, mainly knitting and spinning. I do a little weaving and quilting, a little embroidery. I've been dabbling with embroidery too, crochet, all the yarny related things. I hope this video finds you very well. It is the 19th of October 2023 and I'm coming to you from a very cloudy, mild day here in the Chicagoland area in the US. So I thought I would pop in here today, did a little bit of vlogging today, out and about. I thought I would just have a quick sit down and give you an update on some of the projects I've been working on. And I have a couple of books for my bookshelf that I want to talk about today. And then I think the rest of the video is going to be about one of the fleeces that I purchased at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool recently. I purchased a variegated gray fleece. And I have some footage of me scouring that wool, I hope I didn't erase it. I have some footage of me scouring that wool, and I am actually combing that wool to prepare it for spinning. So I thought you might be interested to see that process. Sure is pretty. This is the biggest pile that I separated from the fleece. And what I've done is I filled up my laundry tub to get lots and lots of water in here. And the fleece is protected in this mesh bag, but I like to open it up. I find one of the most important things that I've learned about washing fleece is you have to have plenty of room for the fleece to move around. I've made that mistake in the past where I put too much in too small a container. So yeah, so this I'm gonna let sit for 20, I'm even gonna let it sit 20 to 30 minutes. It won't cool off too much. And then I'm gonna take it out and just let it drain by itself. Give it 2 rinses and see how clean it is. I'm using my power scour. I gave it a good couple of squirts in there. And now it's just like waiting for bread to rise. You just got to be patient and leave it by itself. And don't forget to set a timer. It's been in there for about 20 minutes. You can see the dirt and the grease from the first wash. And you can see it's got a lot of room to move around, which is super, super important. So yes, I'm going to pull this out and do a couple of rinses now. See what it gets me. It's kind of remarkable how clean this fleece got. This is just the first rinse. And it's pretty clear. This gallon of power scour. I purchased this off of Amazon. They had a deal. And I snagged a gallon because I don't want to feel like I need to be miserly with the soap. I usually give it like 1 good squirt is probably good, and maybe if it's really filthy I'll do 1 and like a half a squirt. So yeah, this is a very great good degreaser. I actually use this when I get bacon greases on my clothes. It gets the grease right out, so it's a great product. There's lots of other things you can use to wash fleece, but I really do like Power Scour, and I'm not an affiliate. Hello friends, it's the 20th of February, the 20th of February. It's Friday, October 20th. And I'm in my laundry room / fiber preparation room. And I'm going to do some combing this morning of some wool that I washed up in late summer. So I'll turn the camera around and show you the wool, and we'll do a little bit of combing this morning. So this is one of 2 half fleeces that I picked up just this about a month ago at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival. It's a fine Corriedale fleece from Observatory Hill Farm.
And so you can see so far I've made a little bit of progress in preparing some little nests to spin. So my goal is to get 4 shades from this fleece. So I have this sort of vanilla gray, and then a little bit lighter gray, and then sort of I guess that fits in that category. Oops, it's darker. So I've got this one. And then this is the darkest shade. So I think I have 4 shades. Let's see. So there's your light to dark. It's so beautiful. I was thinking that I could take all my combing waste and carding waste and stuff it into a big pillow and make a nice woolly pillow. What do you think? It's heaven. Okay, so I could do this all day. So it was coated. So it's got sort of a blocky staple, the Corriedale, but I can tell that by the feel that this is the cut end and this is the tip end. So I like to, if possible, put the cut end on the combs first. Try not to hurt myself today. I think I need to raise this up a little bit. Every time I say that, I think of that Josh Groban song, "You raise me up so I can climb on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be." So I'm going to fill it about halfway here. That's pretty good. So yeah, you can see, I think that's good enough. All right, next up. All right, this is just some water and some oil. So I think this time I used some grapeseed oil, and I don't measure at all. I just put some oil and water in there and some other fragrant oils, and that's what I use. So I don't have any recipe or anything. I just sort of wing it. I've also used coconut oil. You can use jojoba oil. You can use olive oil. A variety of different oils. So sweet almond, that's another one that's really nice too. I just start at the tips and I go sideways, and then I'll go on the other side. Sometimes I use 2 hands. Yeah, given this 4 passes on my combs, the way I comb, I pretty much am just organizing the fiber into a worsted preparation where most of the fibers are aligned and going in the same direction. But I'm not a real stickler for a true worsted prep, traditional worsted prep that was done on big English combs, and they would go through a series of processes where they would pull off the top and then plank it, which means like they kind of redistribute all the lengths. I mean, there's a lot more to combing than what I use. I just basically am using it to organize my fiber. The way I do it, when I diz off, so I'll show you what diz is that my shorter fibers do tend to be at the end of the roving, and it doesn't really bother me. So that's one or two passes, back and forth. And then this is my waist, which is very clean and lovely. So I'm saving this, and I'm going to use this in my drum carder probably. So really, I could diz it off right now. I mean, it's pretty spinnable at the moment, but I'm going to go one more time and just to have it a little bit more smooth. So. I really should be cleaning the house, but this is way more fun. All right, so then I'm going to do one more. So my fiber ends up in the same, oopsie, I got stuck. So my fiber ends up on the combs, the same orientation that I started. So the cut end out to the tip, and then I'll comb it, I'll spin it from the tip. And if you rewind your bobbins and you ply, then you're plying in the same direction as well. And you get a beautiful, beautiful yarn. I consider this more of a semi-worsted rather than a true worsted. You can get really bogged down with the nomenclature and vocabulary and everything. So I'm happy the way it looks now, so I'm going to diz. So this is a diz that I bought off of somebody on Etsy. It's a piece of bone, I think, or antler. But you can also use something very simple. This is a piece of milk carton with a hole in it. You can use a button. There's a variety of things you can use to use as a diz. So I'm going to use this. I just like the handle of this. And I'm going to use the smaller of the two holes. So I'm going to pull it together like a beard. See if I'm in focus here. There we go. And I stick my hook in there. It's an old hook I have, crochet hook. I twist it a little bit, and then I pull it through the hole. And there I am ready to draw it off. So what I do is I pull and then push, pull and then push, pull and then push, pull. I'm pulling about half a staple length, so probably about 2 inches. And I just keep going, smush it forward. This fleece is so consistent in length. Now I am getting some of the shorter fibers at the end. It kind of gets a little skinny at the end. It doesn't really matter. So then I wrap it around, give it a twist around my hand, and then I'm at the tip now. So this is the tip. I give the tip a little twirl, and then I take my hand out and I stick it inside. So I know that that's where I'm going to start spinning.
thankful for the way the sun rises in the morning. I'm thankful for yellow, red, and blue. I'm thankful that the tides don't forget to return. But most of all, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that the lightning never strikes twice in the garden. I'm thankful for the silent midnight dew. I'm thankful for the quiet thoughts that visit when the moon shines. Most of all, I'm thankful for you. So much to make my heart glad. So many reasons to sing. But I'm thankful for every moment, and you're in everything. I'm thankful for the way my son reaches for my fingers. I'm thankful for my daughter's smile too. I'm thankful for the time that brought us all together. But most of all, I'm thankful for you. So much to make my heart glad. So many reasons to sing. But I'm thankful for every moment, and you're in everything. And I'm so thankful.
Most of my crafting time in the past week has been about the Geogradient MKAL shawl that I am participating in. I am halfway done with Clue 2. Today, Clue 3 came out. I haven't looked at it yet, and I'm going to try to avoid social media and the video and everything until I can finish Clue 2, and then I want to jump in with Clue 3. So it's taking me a little bit longer than I think it should to get the knitting done. But, you know, at this point, I'm absolutely team embrace your pace, though I do feel just a little bit envious of people that are able to keep up with the knitting. I was knitting so much the other day that my shoulder started to hurt because of my movement, and I had to do some stretching, and I just had to take a break. So here is, I live in fear of stitches coming off the needles because half the shawl is on a spare circular needle, and then the other half is on the working needle. So, but here is my finished, oh, spoiler alert. This is my finished Clue 2, half Clue 2. So So if you watched me last week, I had not finished clue 1, so maybe next week I will have clue 2 finished. So I decided to do a color opportunity with this lime green. I have a lime green and mohair that I put there. My particular version of the shawl really reminds me of the, and I'm going to say it wrong, Ojo de Dios, or Eye of God, which I will try to find some copyright-free images to put in here. My husband mentioned that, and then I started looking at the images, and I thought it really does look like that. So as you see, I have got a lot of progress. My shawl is quite a bit bigger than a lot of people's. It's the central square was nearly 18 inches. So most people are getting like 14 inches or so. So we'll see. Maybe it'll be a nice big shawl. I have a feeling that Stephen is going to have us build from the sides of this rhombus here. I don't know what's going to happen, but who knows what's going to happen. But there is an I-cord edge that you're creating here with these sections. So I'm thinking maybe he'll have us pick up the I-cord. Who knows? I'm not 100%. I have no idea what's going on with this. But yeah, I'm loving my colors. They're very vibrant, very happy. I purchased a kit in September. It was called the Lipstick Gradient. But I decided to mix it up a little and add in my own take on this. So I'll show this to you a little bit up close. Okay. So this is the central square that I chose to do. This is an Afghan square that I've seen online, but this particular version is actually from the Kate Davis Berlin blanket. So I started with that because it's a pattern that I own. And this pink yarn is from Renaissance Dyeing. And I believe it's a Pole Dorset, naturally colored with cochineal. And if you notice here, I put a little bobble. I haven't secured the bobble very well yet because I haven't decided if I'm going to leave it in or not. But I felt like I needed something to bring in this green from the clue 2. My other thought was to take some of the green yarn and embroider in these leaves. So I haven't quite decided what to do there. Yeah, so this is clue 2. So it's this big chevron. And you can see that I mix it up a little bit with the middle. So let me tell you about this green yarn. So the green yarn is also from Renaissance Dyeing. I had this in my sock yarn stash. So let me show you the tag. It says it's 100% Pole Dorset. And this is the color name, which I'm not even going to make any attempt to pronounce. So, yes, it's a limey green. I love it. So, in praise of stash, it's so nice to have some stash that you can fall back on. Then I found this in my stash, or I remembered I had it. This is a mohair silk lace weight from Knit 1, Crochet 2. And I held these to double in this eyelet section here. I'm knitting this on a US 4 3.5 millimeter. And I have this huge, long, circular needle that I have this on. These are some precious needles that I have. These are excuse me. These are Holstenstein ebony needles, and they're absolutely beautiful. I bought them many years ago. I think I got them from Nature's Luxury, but
I don't know if they're available in the US anymore, but I did have them shipped. And I was happily using those needles for this, but then when I got to the super dark color, this ox color, so there's 4 shades here in the kit. There was Ooze Yuzu, which is the orange, and then Lipstick, which is like a rosy red, Velvet, and then Ox, or XO. I don't know. Is it Ox or is it XO? So I've pretty much been, knitting like mad, trying to catch up, and I just have to let that go and just realize that there are always going to be people ahead of me and there are always going to be people behind, and it really doesn't matter, because as we all know, comparison is the thief of joy, which is my mantra of late, because that's one of my biggest faults as a human, is I'm always, comparing myself with others and then usually falling short. But you don't need to know that about me. So that is what I've been working on. I also did this, I forgot to mention. For the other eyelet row, I used this, not this, I used this. So I had a visit to my local yarn shop, and I purchased this. This is a Barocco Ariel, and it's also a lace weight mohair silk. And I paired that with this. This is Velvet by Punk Rock Unicorn. So I did hold this double in the eyelet sections, and it's giving the shawl a little bit of weight, extra weight, and a little bit of fluff, as you can see here in these eyelets here. I know you can't really see the mohair, but now I'm looking at all the people's shawls, and they're all so varied and different colors. People have added texture. They've used crochet. I mean, so Stephen really has created this central panel, this square now, and you can just put whatever you want in it, which is amazing. I am partial to the radiating squares, and the color schemes that I've been seeing, incredible. So yeah, kudos to Stephen for creating such a relaxing and meditative knit for the middle, and then giving you a structure by which you can then interject your own creativity, which I think is just lovely. So I am super, super enjoying I hope my microphone is working. Okay. I've been really enjoying the MKAL so far. My cappuccino's just a little bit cooler now. I stopped over at the marketplace, Whole Foods Market, and picked up a coffee this morning while my dog was being groomed. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about, 2 more things with you here in the sit down before I segue into my fiber prep. And one of them is from my bookshelf. So I was looking for an idea for what I might do in the center of my square. So I went to my bookshelf. Over the last decade or so, I've amassed quite a bit of crafting books, as probably you have too. And I found 2 books that I thought were really helpful. The one that I got the little bobble out of is this book right here. This is a book I think it's from 2009, and it's Nicky Epstein's Knitted Embellishments, Appliques, Borders, Cords, and More. She has a lot of books about knitting over the edge and different things that you can use to embellish your knitting. This is baby Nicky here. She's on the back. And I opened it up. I think I bought it used. Yeah, 1999, not 2009, 1999. So here's the table of contents. we have flowers, leaves, trees, fruits, and vegetables. And then you got borders and edgings. So what does it say? Ribs, ribbing, other edgings. And then cords. There's a whole section in here on all the different things you can do with an I-cord. And then fringe, tassels, pom-poms, and ties at the end. So I'm not a very proficient crochet person. I can crochet all the stitches, but I'm not very good at reading the patterns. So I never know where to put the hook. And I know a lot of the flowers and really cute things you can do involve crochet. So I think I picked this up because it was all knitted. So she's got lots of lovely patterns in here. Like here's an example. She's got some intarsia. So here's an intarsia heart. Here's an embossed heart. The first chapter is all hearts, from Fair Isle to embroidery. She has a whole chapter on embroidering your knits, using different stitches, even cross-stitching on your knits, which I think is really cool. This is the, these are bobbles, and that's where I got my bobble pattern. It's just a little piece of knitting. Really, really cute things in here. Look, here's a little ornament. So the first chapter is all on hearts, and then you get into the flowers. So for those of you that are thinking of putting something in that center of your square, I think Irina, a Fiber Chats, who I've been really enjoying lately, what her and Martin are doing for the community is really valuable. It's been a very thoughtful and has really enhanced the whole MKAL experience. So if you haven't checked out Martin, Knit 365 blog, and Irina actually interviewed Kay Fassett just a while ago on all the people that involved in Rowan. And yeah, she really makes everybody feel at home and is just a wonderful interviewer. But she was saying that she wanted to put a flower, maybe a flower inside of her shawl. And so there are some ideas for knitted flowers in here. So yeah, a bunch of knitted flowers, leaves. Here, for example, is a daisy, which I think is really darling. I think I purchased this book when I wasn't that experienced of a knitter. And she's got leaves in here. Here's a Christmas tree, a knitted Christmas tree. So all sorts of interesting things in here. Then she's got borders and edgings. And they're all knitted, which I really think is cool, because if you don't crochet and you want to embellish your knits with some sort of edging, you can use her patterns here. But what I really, really appreciated, especially here, is this embroidery section. So in the embroidery section, she teaches you how to do duplicate stitch, cross stitch, double cross stitch, St. George's cross stitch, a bunch of different needlepoint or cross stitch options, blanket stitch in your knitting, chevrons, crocheted chain. So you should crochet chain on top of your knitting. Lots of really, yeah, couching. I mean, really a very extensive section on embroidering on your knits, which I think is really intriguing to me. And of course the daisy stitches, these are always so cute. I mean, you could even, if you have that center square in your shawl and you're not sure what you want to do with it, you could put like a daisy in the middle, or you could just leave it, you know. But if you just wanted to embellish, there's a lot of really great ideas in here. And then she's got combinations. So, oh, look at here, butterflies. There's a little bit of ribbon embroidery. So really cool, 1999. So yeah, how old was I in 1999? I was 39 in 1999. So I got a kick out of the final chapter where she has she's got every kind of tassel you'd ever want to make in here. Pom-poms, ties, I mean just a plethora. Here's a whole spread on what you can do with pom-poms. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of newer books that you can buy. There's always new books coming out, of course, but sometimes the oldies are the goodies. And I don't think things don't really change that much, though sometimes the styling might change. But then she's got some creative combinations here. So look at this embroidery on here. They're really neat. It seems like everything old is new again anyways. You know, people like the 70s aesthetic. I understand Stephen West was inspired by kind of 1970s wallpaper, and a lot of people's MKAL is they're very 70s colors. So yeah, just really like, here's a pillow that's embossed with all these different embellishments. So yeah, a book I've had on my bookshelf that I probably haven't picked up in years. But it's nice to have a few reference books in your library, which in other words is my bookshelf. It sounds fancy, it's just bookshelf. But it is nice to have some reference books, and I bet you could pick this up from a used bookstore for very, very inexpensively. So I don't know, do you have this book? Have you done any embellishing on your knits using any of those techniques? I'd love to hear, and yeah, I'd love to read your comments underneath the video. I really feel like this is a two-way conversation rather than me just, you know, talking to myself. So yes, thank you for all your comments. So the other book I found that I thought was really relevant was this one, 100 Flowers to Knit and Crochet, which is a much newer book. This book is by Lesley Stanfield. And this has all sorts of flowers to knit and crochet. And I won't go too much into this book because I haven't really made anything out of it yet. But what's really neat is she has a directory at the beginning, which I really appreciate in knitting books. So you have all your flowers at the beginning. Look at the butterfly. You could put a butterfly in the middle of your shawl. That would be cool. Oh, I think that would be really cool. So look at these little fuchsias. This is a beautiful book. And a lot of knitting and crocheting, so you can pick and choose. Here's another butterfly. So highly recommend this book if you're interested in a book that has different motifs. Again, really detailed instructions on how to make each of the flowers. And at the end, of course, there's another spread of leaves. And at the end, again, there's some suggestions on how you might use some of the motifs in projects. So, you know, embellishing your slippers, making a poinsettia to put on somebody's gift at the holiday time, embellishing your handbag. So yes, another book on my bookshelf that I highly recommend. If you have any favorite books on embellishing knits, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. So do let me know if you've ever done any embellishing, and if you have a favorite author or designer that uses this kind of technique in their knitting. All right, the last thing I wanted to share with you today in this little sit down is some acquisitions. I was so good about not buying yarn. I'm like, I have plenty of yarn, I don't need any yarn. Well, I bought some yarn.
I also bought a basket. Oh, look, you could wear it as a hat. It looks like a hat. I bought a new basket. Okay, so in this basket was a couple of purchases. So just yesterday I received a couple of skeins of yarn from a hand dyer. I think she's based in Germany. It's a dye for yarn. And she provides free shipping. I have a couple other skeins of her yarn in my stash. This is a merino yak silk base. It is 65% merino, 20% silk, and 15% yak. And it's this beautiful golden brown tones and beautifully, gloriously soft. So I have a plan for this. I am going to make Stephen West's Mingling Daisies with this shawl, with this yarn. So he came out with that pattern, I think last month, maybe a couple months ago, and he uses his recommendation is a Ching fiber yak silk, and I think this is the same base because it's the same yardage. And the name of the colorway is, this is what I think there are two women that are the dyers behind Dye for Yarn, and the name of this yarn, can you see it? It's called Tired Hamster. They've got real creative names. So yeah, it's I think it's coming out pretty true in this natural light that I have here in the front room. So I've got 2 hanks of this, and I'm looking forward to casting on that shawl sometime. A little bit more subdued colors after working with all those reds. So I made 2 other yarn purchases since we last spoke. Shh, don't tell anybody. At my local yarn shop, when I purchased that mohair for my Geogradient, I also picked up yarn for a pair of socks. So here is the yarn. This is a Madeline Tosh yarn. It's called Modern Fair Isle. It's 420 yards. It is, I think it's a silk. No, it's not silk. It's merino nylon. So it's 25% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. So it's this cream base with lots of little speckles, rust and brown and orange speckles in there. So I picked that up. And then I picked up this rich chocolate brown. This is from Cascade. This is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And this does not have a colorway. No, but it was only $11, which is so affordable. And then I picked up just this little Uni Merino Mini. And she's got a bunch of these in all different colors, which is great for heels, toes, and cuffs of your socks. So these are the 3 colors. And if you have been following me for a while, you know exactly what they're for. A couple weeks ago, I reviewed this book, Charming Colorwork Socks by Charlotte Stone. And I pulled from my stash yarn to make the autumn mice socks, which I still haven't cast on because my other socks are languishing and I can't have 2 pairs of socks on the needles at once. I draw the line there. I can have a million whips, but I can't have 2 pairs of socks going at the same time. But in this charming book, which, well titled, is these coffee socks. They're coffee break socks. In some of the Ravelry projects that I've seen on this. I find that this, the main body here is a little dark, and so the coffee cups, which is in the brown, sometimes gets obscured. And I have seen some knitters make a band of white as the background for the coffee cup. So I had that in mind when I was looking at the sock yarn wall. And that's why I picked this. It's quite light, still has some interests, and I think that the coffee cups are going to show up quite nicely against that cream. And then I just needed a little bit for an embellishment. And I probably have some blue yarn in my stash, but I loved how these look together. So that's another future whip. I've saved the best for last. When I was, let me have a sip of coffee here. When I was up over in Michigan a couple weeks ago on vacation, I was so inspired by the lakeside. We stayed a week at Lake Michigan, and I had watched. I follow a couple of people on YouTube. One of them is Susan from Wild Cottage Craft. She's in Ireland, and then the other gal from Ireland who has a beautiful podcast, and she always talks about Celtic culture. Farach Knits. Oh shoot, I am so sorry. I will find her name and I'll put it at the bottom. It's Gaelic and I can't pronounce it, but she loves this life in the long grass wool and yarns. And she had mentioned that Life in the Long Grass has a flat fee worldwide shipping. So I went on to the Life in the Long Grass website and I picked up some skeins. I picked up some skeins inspired by the colors of the lakeshore. Rocks. And here they are. Aren't they beautiful? They're all singles. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. They're so beautiful. What am I going to do with you may ask? I'm going to make something glorious. I'm going to make some big, gigantic blanket of some sort, I think. Something that will remind me of the lakeshore and all the beauty therein. So let me show you each one of them individually. So this one doesn't have a name. So I don't know if this is a one-off or not. I can't remember the name, but it's a cream with like little blue speckles in it. And then this one, UISCE, which I think means water in Irish, water of life. It's a beautiful blue. It's blue, and it has so much dimension, you know, little speckles of brown and rust, and gives it a lot of interest. So there's the blue. And then this one is Solas, which is a little bit darker in tone. You can see it's slightly darker in tone. And this is also very beachy. You can see the beautiful colors. So yeah, there's some purples in there and some reds, golds, gold speckles. The thing about these colors is they're all so harmonious together. I think just their whole aesthetic. I don't think you could go wrong pairing any of their yarns together. So I have these 3 shades that reminded me of the shoreline a little bit and the water. And then I purchased this one. This one's called Pollinate. And this one reminds me of the sand on the lakeshore. It's definitely got the yellows in there. Called Pollinate, but basically a golden yellow with speckles of red. When we were at the lakeshore, there were all these beautiful rocks. People do a lot of rock collecting on lakeshore, on Lake Michigan. They look for fossils and different kinds of rocks. Of course, they're never as pretty once you take them home. They're always prettier in the water. So that represents the sand. And since we were there in early autumn, I picked up this one. It's called Autumn Leaf. Oh, you guys, look at that. Oh my goodness, it's just a thing of beauty. An absolute thing of beauty. There were, I'll try to find that picture. There was a tree, a bush, that was a beautiful golden color when we were there. Started with an S, and it was all these beautiful shades. Yeah, plus the oak leaves were just starting to turn when we were there too. So I thought that was really pretty. And you'll go big or go home, right? I wasn't going to place an order to Life in the Long Grass and just buy one skein because I'm not going to order again for a while. And then the last one is called Shoreline. This is Shoreline. So this kind of speaks for itself. So, how do you think I did? I think they're all beautiful. Just beautiful. Yes, an extravagance, I have to say, but a lot of joy. A lot of joy I'm going to have. So if you have any suggestions, I know I've been doing a lot of talking about Stephen West, and my husband was laughing. He said, he watched my video. My husband watched my video. He goes, now I'm getting all these videos about MKAL 2023, Geogradient, Stephen West, Stephen West, Stephen West. I had to laugh. But, you know, he's not the only designer in the world. I mean, he's a fantastic, wonderful designer, but there are a lot of other designers. So if you have any suggestions, I just want to make something glorious, maybe using all the colors, but we'll see. I might just take, you know, 3 of the colors and make a shawl, and then the other 3, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's a beautiful addition to my stash. So yeah, so that's about it. I did go over 30 minutes already. I didn't think I had anything to talk about. So I hope this finds you well. I hope you, the news in the world is just so terrible sometimes that it's hard not to feel sad and want to cry all the time. But, you know, taking refuge in our making and supporting each other and loving one another is the most important thing. So my love to all of you. I hope you're coping well, and I hope you're finding joy and peace in your life. It's a glorious day today. It's the 19th of October. And our maple tree is still pretty green.
But we do have quite a lot of flowers, leaves falling. But not very many. We had a little rain last night. Grass is quite green still. And Peaches and I, we're gonna go get a haircut today.
Can you hear the robins? We've seen them flocking up, ready to head south. Suburban sounds. Well, if we're going to make that 9 o'clock appointment, I better get going. I just ran some errands. I went over to the Whole Foods, also known as Whole Paycheck around these parts. I picked up a few things, some bananas, some produce, grabbed a cup of coffee from my favorite barista. There's a real sweet girl there who always makes the best cappuccinos. Peaches is still at the groomers. I was supposed to pick her up at 12, but now I'm picking her up at 1 in half an hour. So I'm just in the CVS parking lot. I'm going to pick up some medications and then head home, unpack, and go pick her up. So this beautiful autumn day has turned kind of cloudy, but hopefully I'll be able to get in front of the camera and share with you things I've been working on this week. The MKAL has been taking up all my crafting time, and I'm only halfway done with Clue 2, and today Clue 3 has come out. So what, that puts me like 25% behind. Some wise woman once said to me, or I heard her say, that comparison is the thief of joy. And boy, is that ever true, right? So be happy, be grateful for what I can do and what I do accomplish, and I hope you guys feel the same. Hey, Peaches. So this is at the groomers. Look at the beautiful flowers they still have. They're not bad for October 19th.
like picking out a Christmas tree.